Hello, this is an Ibach grand piano, 183 centimetres long, that's 6 foot long, and made in 1975. It's come into stock this month, and we're always very pleased to get these high quality German grand pianos in. We've finished off the weighting of the keyboard, which was slightly heavy, about 5 grams. We've taken it down to 50 grams, which is what it should be for this piano, and we're doing some fine voicing on the hammers as well. So just want to have a look at some aspects of it. Now, as with a lot of grands made of this era, it's got 2 pedals and not 3. That's fine for all the exams you could take. The middle pedal, sostenuto, is very rarely used. If you're watching this video, want to leave a comment if you do use it, that'd be useful to know, but really very, very few musicians use it. There is slight marking on the music stand, as you'd expect, as it's been used a bit, but if you look at the music stand here, you can see it's had very little use. There's no real wear. Now, looking at the piano itself, and the inside, you can see that it's in extremely good condition. Excellent quality, really as good as a grand piano can get. We're going to look at some aspects which make it a top quality grand piano. Now, one of the first things we do when a grand comes in, as we said in many other videos, test the tuning pins, make sure they're really tight, and they are indeed original tuning pins, of course, and as tight as you could want them to be. And Ibach, being one of the top German makers, is a very, very stable piano. Just zeroing in on the typical decal or logo that Ibach use on their grand and upright pianos. They even put that behind all the strings on an upright. The only person who ever sees that is the technician. Now, we've marked the hammers, and I just wanted to show you something interesting about this piano. If you're a technician, I won't mention what it is, you'll notice straight away, but Ibach have adjusted the corda, which I'm going to use now, so that it goes further than usual. This is Ibach's original regulation of it. So normally it would go to about there, and if you're a technician, you probably notice that it's going in the opposite direction of what it normally would. Nearly every grand has it going to the right, and this one's going to the left. Not quite sure why they did that, but Ibach were a very thoughtful firm, so they must have had a very good reason. And so, of course, it does mean that now it's going to hit. The problem with adjusting it too far is sometimes the next hammer will catch it, but Ibach have done it exactly right, so the next hammer doesn't catch. And the bass section here is literally on a corda. It's hitting 2 strings there and 1 string. So it just changed the tone of the piano appreciably. Now, before looking at the inside of the piano, just to mention that we've got rid of about 95%, I think, of the scratching, but you can see slight scratching on the top here, which you can't get rid of. That's the only real defect, I think, the slight scratching here on the top lid. Front part of the top lid has been held back, I think, so that's pretty perfect, and the sides are pretty perfect. So it's not perfect on the outside, but in very, very good condition. To get some idea of the tone, we'll compare it with some similar length pianos. Here's a Yamaha of similar length and age. It's also a very good sounding piano, but the richness of the bass is richer on the Ibach, as we'll hear in a minute. Here's the Yamaha again. Here's a new Foric 179. And that's a very well designed piano. It's our preferred make of piano in this price range. Back to the Ibach. So this is a mellower sound. They're all very fine pianos, really. And the top treble, the Yamaha. Of course, I'm sorry you can't hear that much on the video, but hopefully you get some idea. And the Foric. Back to the Ibach. It's a definitely mellower sound. A lot to do with the hammers. So the Ibach has a high quality Renner action made in West Germany as well. Looking at the hammers, now we've marked the hammers as I mentioned earlier. It helps a lot because you can see if the piano is a second-hand piano particularly, well, new pianos too, you can see if the hammer strikes the string very correctly. This one needed slight refacing and you might be able to see it's a slightly different colour, but all of them are positioned very, very well. That's encouraging. The centre pins here are very tight. Not had a huge amount of wear, the piano really, but we've obviously lubricated those, and we've lubricated the centre rail here and lubricated the roller too. We've put French chalk on that, or talc rather, and that's what Renault themselves do. It's amazing how much smoother it can make it, and also how much you can reduce the weight doing that. I wanted to use this video to make a point. This is inside the Yamaha. This is a standard simple damper system, and we'll look at the Renault action in a minute on the Ibach just to get an idea of how much more useful it is. The problem with this is, well, if you can regulate it this well, it's not really a problem, but it's difficult to get the hammers pulling the dampers off at a different time from the pedal, which you sometimes want to do if you want to get different regulation on them. Looking inside the Ibach, you can see it's much more complicated. You have the spoon here, which is very useful. You can do individual adjustments of when the key is going to pull the damper off. This, by the way, just to show you what I mean by that, we'll have a look in a second at dampers. So as I push the sustain pedal down, you can see that this rod here is lifting off the dampers. You can lift them off individually with these spoons here. So you can have them lifting off differently with the pedal from what you do with the key, which is very useful. And what's more, they've also got the capstan adjustment here, so you can adjust them differently to the rod. And looking inside the Yamaha, there's no individual adjustments here at all, so you obviously can set it up correctly, but later on if you want to do fine adjustments or just want to move something, it's much easier if you've got the Renault style action. So that's an Ibach grand piano that's come into stock this month, and we've been refining it, and both the touch, which feels very, very sensitive now, and the voicing. It's a delight to play. Very rich tone throughout, and the touch is as exquisite as you could get, really. These West German firms stop at nothing to make the very best piano that they can, and it really shows, Ibach being one of the very top firms of the 1970s. And it hasn't had a huge amount of wear, so we've had to actually reduce the weight because through lack of use, I think, or for some other reasons. It's a bit too heavy, but now it's perfect. And around this area where it matters the most, it sings beautifully. And very even tone throughout, not at all patchy. Interesting enough, shifting to the left, which doesn't take any getting used to really. It's very easy to accommodate yourself to that. A lot of difference in volume and tone of the hammers. And Ibach have set it up like that to have a very big shift. And works very well. Thank you very much for listening.